Hello, this is Pat Walker at MissionWinners.com, and I'm making a video here for Brad. By the way, folks, I just wanted to share this with you. I love answering the questions. Sometimes I'll do it in a typed format. Sometimes I'll do it in a video. Whatever I feel is appropriate to cover the material necessary to make explanations. So I just encourage all of you VIPs, keep asking questions. I think it's important. By the way, I say this, and I really mean this. I will only use first names, no last names, out of respect for you and your privacy. So this is a video for Brad. He said he's fairly new, and he says, can you break down some of your favorite setups and exits? And I'm going to go through, and I'm just make it simple. We're going to go through and probably look at 10, 15 charts real quick. Here's one of them. This is a past keyless stock from earlier this year. Just a nice, clean, simple base. Nothing fancy here, just going sideways. And what does it do? When it finally lifts off, it lifts off on volume, just a volume breakout. That's one that I love. This was one from last year that was nice. Upland, or March of this year, last year, excuse me. Just going sideways here, and then it takes off right there on volume. Clean and simple, longer base. I like those. Here's another one, NTNX from last year, or earlier this year. I'm sorry, gosh, the time goes fast. It's just going sideways. Let's do something, though. I think this is important. I teach this, and so let's make it simple. This is what we were looking at. Just a clean and simple base. This stock has great earnings, great sales, in a great group. Everything was there. Fairly clean and simple, downward sloping trend line, nothing fancy, and it pushes through on volume and goes up. That was a nice move right there. That's what we look for. Clean and simple entries. Now, you had a good question. You said, what clean and simple, how does this work? It's very simple. Bill O'Neill talks about 5 to 7% losses. However, if you dig deeper, and I had the good fortune of meeting him and talking with him a couple of times, he wants to limit losses much less than that. This is why I talk about really clean and simple base entries. Why? If you take a look at this one right here, you can see this is a very clean shelf. Pushing above here, it's great. If it falls below it, we're out of it. That's how tight we run it. I'm going to show you another one here really quick. Square from last year. It's just a nice little shelf right here. The stock lifted up, has a nice little shelf. Very constructive, quiet, and what happens? By the way, it was in a great group, and it had great numbers, great earnings and sales growth. Pushes through on a pickup in volume, and it starts to march. Just advancing. Now I'm going to stop here for a second and share something with you. I'll advance a little further. Is the yellow line's the 8-period exponential moving average. The blue line's the 20-period simple, and the green's the 50-day simple. I like trends. I'm looking for stocks that come out of a decent pattern, a clean pattern, that everybody can see. These aren't top secret patterns. This is a flat little shelf. Oh yeah, a fourth grader could say, oh, it's just been going sideways a couple of weeks, Mr. Walker, and pushed through those tops. I guess we should buy some. There you go. That's it. And then it walks up the 8-day. Or it walks up the 20-day. That is what we are looking for. But going back here, the reason I like a really clean and simple base is if it breaks out and it falls back into that base, I'm going to sell some. Why? Because through the years, I have found the best stocks, they just break out and go. There ain't no flirting around, like, back and forth. They just go. They just go. That's what we're looking for. I'll show you another one here from last year just to give you an idea. Right there, FANG. This stock had great earnings. It was in a great group. Just clean tops. Look at this. This is nothing fancy. Just connect the highs. This isn't rocket science for us. Just being simple. It's like, well, gosh, I guess if it takes out around $112 a share, that'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? And it does it. It gaps up and it's off to the races. Look at the volume on that bar versus the previous bar. And it just goes up. Clean and simple. If it had gone up and reversed down, if it falls back into this base, I'm selling half my shares. I am not, and then if it keeps falling, I'm selling the rest of my shares. I have to stress something. I am really wired tight that I'm not going to have any big losses. This is why I really look for clean bases, really clean and simple entries, so that it gives me a very tight exit with a small loss. That is very, very important. I don't want any big losses ever, ever. 5 to 7%, too big. We want less than that. And that's why we really look for tight chart formations that a fourth grader could see it and understand it. That's kind of what we're looking for. Also, let me see what else we see here. Your favorite setups. Okay, my favorite setups, I will tell you, a nice long base. Does it have to be, 10 weeks long? Heck no. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 3 weeks. 6 weeks. That's all I'm looking for. I can go through past key list winners. A Biomed last year was right here. Tailend last year was here. Upland I went through already. NTNX I went through. Okta. Amazon's had some entries in here that have been really clean. Just kind of lifting on up. It was on the key list right here. Lifting on up. We had it on the key list right here. Picked some up right in here. All right? And I still remember, this was nice, okay? We were selling some of this off for over 120-point profit. Right here. Bought it. Just walking up. And you can say, what's so special? It was walking up the 8-period exponential moving average. What do? We sell some into strength. That's it. It's simple. I just want to ride trends. But trends can follow through after a stock has broken out of a decent price pattern. And I don't day trade. I'm not looking for something that's got some kind of a zigzag pattern for 3 days. I want a longer base. So let's quantify that now. What do you mean by longer bases? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and longer. 2 weeks to 6 weeks, 7 weeks is just fine with me. And a simple chart pattern. If I have to look for it, it's probably not there. I want to find a chart pattern that everybody can see. Why? It increases the odds they'll act on it too. I remember years ago trading with a buddy out in California, Robert. We'd sit there and buy something, and the stock would just sit there. And I said, well, guess what, Robert? You know what I think? We're probably the only two investors in the world that saw it. We're the lone Marine on the beach taking fire. And, then we'd have to sell it real quick. So those are my setups. Simple bases. There's one other I like, but it's a little bit more aggressive and fancy. I don't know if I can find an example, but it's a stock. Let me go through here real quick. Twitter was really good for us. We bought Twitter back here. See, that just lifted off here. Look at that. Simple. Walking up the 8. Forgot about that one. Picked it up here, around $34 a share. Just kind of grinding on up. So we got another one. Tesla was good. Let me see if I can find an example here. I'm going to go down the max list real quick. Bear with me. Here we go. We did Twitter. Tesla. I'm just looking for another. I like them if they go up. They pull back to the 8. They go sideways for a couple today, and then they start to lift off the 8 again. We may have bought, I think we did. We bought Netflix here. We had Netflix right here too. Just lifting on up. We had it down here. I know that at $3.35 we bought it. Okay? Trigger day right in here. We had it here too. Simple patterns. Look at this base. Vanilla. Everybody can see it. That's what we're looking for. I don't want to talk too long here because I don't want to take too much of your time, but those are the ones that do the best. Give me a clean and simple chart pattern. Also, let's quantify this a bit further. This is important. I want a really good chart pattern. I want a leading stock in a leading group. And when I say a leading stock, I mean a company that has either earnings up 40% or higher, or revenues the last 2 quarters on average up 45% or higher. I want it above the 50-day moving average line. I don't do low price stocks. I don't do stocks really under $10 a share. I don't like them. I like the higher price stocks. Give me stuff over $20, $30 a share. I don't like stocks that don't trade, that are real thin. I like stocks that are $20 a share, that do 200 to 300,000 shares a day minimum, that have either great earnings and sales. They're in the top 10 to 20 groups, and they are within 15% of 52-week highs. I'm telling you what, there's where money goes, and I can quantify it right there. So, Brad, I hope that helps you. I know I covered a lot of material there, but I really look for clean entries on the day chart. Oh, leads to another point. I'm not sitting here looking at a bunch of 5-minute charts. I look at the daily, and if it's starting to break out, I'll take it down to the hourly to see if there's a volume surge on the hourly chart or on the 30-minute chart. If there's not, then I don't do it. So I look at the daily first. I defer to daily. Like right here, look at this. Here we go. Let's do something. Here we go. It's going sideways. It's on the 8-day and the 20-day. Oh, look at this. Look at the volume pickup here on July 5th. It's like, oh, there's some clean tops there. Let's take it to the hourly and go back to July 5th. Boom, there you go. Look at that. This is the hourly chart. You say, well, gosh, if it takes off these tops on the hourly with volume, that would be good. Look at the volume pickup. We're off to the races and we're in. And there we go. And that's it. And here's the daily chart again. I hope that helps you. Again, I'm sorry if this was too long, but I want to do it justice. And Brad, I'm glad you're part of the team, and I hope I answered your questions. Keep asking them. That's why I'm here. It's not just to give tips and ideas, it's to educate. So thank you very much.